Fair warning for this one, I am massively hungover and I'm just praying this coffee somehow revitalises me. I suspect it won't. What can I say going into this other than good luck to all of us, really? Hello, my name is Kirioth and today we are going to have a little chat about Indomitus again. But it's more positive this time round. It has to be more positive because we cut now live to Games Workshop dealing with scalpers with the announcement that Indomitus is doing a made-to-order thing. So yeah, quite a lot of people wanted Indomitus, it turned out, and they thought they had made enough. They had made loads of them. In fact, we can see their words for ourselves, read them even. That's probably what you do with words, isn't it? Rather than just see them. So, Mr. Indomitus will make you one. Pretty clear there. There's a bit of spiel at the start about how, you know, more people is more games and more fun, etc., etc., which they are not incorrect about. They're totally right. And as they say, partway down, Warhammer is going so fast, sometimes it takes even us by surprise. When we said we made loads of this set, we weren't kidding. There were way more Indomitus launch boxes made than any other box set in the history of Warhammer, and not by a small bargain. March. Wow. Let's try that again. There were way more Indomitus launch boxes made than any other box set in the history of Warhammer, and not by a small margin. The copies we had reserved for online store sold out in minutes. We are painfully aware, are we not, everybody? Thankfully, that wasn't all of them. All those copies in our online store were just part of the Indomitus story. Right now, there are loads of copies making their way to Warhammer shops and independent stockists around the world. Even more on this later. Even so, we want to make doubly sure that everyone has the chance to get their hands on an Indomitus set of their own. We made it to celebrate the new edition, and what's a celebration without everyone getting involved? And so, today we are going to be making Indomitus available as a made-to-order item for a limited time. If you missed out on the pre-order and or aren't able to make it to a store for launch day, you'll still be able to secure a copy. These will be limited to one per customer order, and we'll be making them as fast as we can. We don't have an exact delivery date just now, but it might be up to 120 days before you receive your copy. The way it will work is simple. Place your order, they make it, they send it to you. That's it, really. That's it. And you can do it now. Behold, Warhammer 40,000 Indomitus made to order. Now, I haven't actually seen anywhere how long it's going to be up for order. That is the one thing. Having a quick scan round here, and I can't see anything that says, you know, you've got 3 days or something. I don't know. Yeah, it may take up to 120 days. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. They haven't given us a specific time for how long you've got to order this. I would suggest that if you want one, I would get it now. That would be the best thing to do because, as I say, there doesn't seem to be any indication as to how long you've actually got. This is the right move. It does admittedly raise the question of, well, if you were able to do this in the first place, why isn't that the default option? But we know what the default option is. There's no real point actually asking that question. The default option is not made to order because you get a shed load of guaranteed sales. You can milk the FOMO for all it's worth and sell out instantly if you don't do it as a made to order thing. And logistically, it means you can plan ahead and produce all the stuff, store it for as long as you plan to store it for, and then get rid of it in one quick, easy, like 15-minute period of time. That's why it's not the default option. It would be nice if it was, let's be totally honest. If it was you've got 2 weeks to order a copy of Indomitus, then it's never coming out again, but everyone gets one if they wanted one. That would be highly preferable, but I would imagine logistically this is going to be a bit of a pain in the arse. To be honest, I'm not like a manufacturing person, funnily enough. I don't have any particular insider knowledge, but I am assuming that it is a little more complex to deal with a shed load of made-to-order stuff coming in than it is to just do it all in bulk, sit it down for a bit, and then get rid of it in one swift, easy. I was going to say movement. That makes it sound like going to the toilet, so maybe not that. They've done the right thing here, definitely. They've definitely done the right thing. They have fixed the issue. They thought they'd made enough. They clearly hadn't made anywhere near enough. And, of course, there is a bonus side effect that scalpers now, what's the point? Don't even entertain it even slightly. Even if you were going to, don't do it now. Why would you bother? If you've ordered one from a scalper, then try and cancel that order, get a refund, just buy it from Games Workshop. Now, they have said that they are going to be getting in touch with like retailers, stockists, whatever, so that they can work out a way of getting them more boxes as well. That's good. I was wondering about that. Part of me wonders whether it's not just going to be a case of retailers putting it back up for order and then saying to Games Workshop, hey, we have this many orders. I don't know how feasible that is. I'd imagine that'll be the easiest thing. It's whether that's actually possible or not. But if they were able to do that, that would be great, because it means you could go to your preferred local game store, you could just place your order, and then you know full well that you will get it in the fullness of time if they just pass the orders on to Games Workshop. I would assume that will be okay, but possibly not. We'll have to see. I'm sure they'll tell us what's happening at some point. No idea when it stops, but yeah, get in quick, I think is probably the solution to this. Now, we did talk briefly about scalpers, and I wanted to touch on it again a little bit because someone asked an interesting question yesterday in the comments. So, we talked about scalpers briefly, and how they could go after themselves. Do I do a tangent? 2 videos? I've got there's a tangent in every video. Tangent time. That's not a good version of that song, is it? So I jokingly was like, you could subscribe if you want. You know you could do that. That's a thing you could do. And then I mentioned Raid Shadow Legends and had to apologise to Baltimore. But it was a joke thing. It was presented as a taking the piss thing, and I hope it came across that way. The frustrating thing is that it works. Now, it could be argued, not a good YouTuber, because I've not been doing that ever, because it pisses me off. But it's genuinely alarming how I was like, you could actually sub if you want. Well, there's a reason that everyone else screams it in your face every other video, or every single video, or multiple times per video. And it's because when you say that to people, when you say, you could subscribe if you like, they do that. They actually do. We got like 800 new subs yesterday, which is mental, because all I did was say you could do the thing if you wanted. That's it. What is wrong with this platform? Why does that work? Thank you to everyone who subscribed. I'm not ungrateful. I'm very grateful. It just blows my mind that worked. Although, admittedly, several of you were like, "Oh, I watched this I watch your videos all the time. I just never subscribed." Maybe that's happening a lot, where it's just like, well, it shows up in the recommended feed, you click it, then it recommends you more and more, and then you've watched everything, but you've not needed to subscribe because YouTube just gives you the videos anyway. I did say, it's not like it does much anymore, but still. Anyway, enough of that. Scalpers. Let's talk just briefly, because someone asked a question, which I thought was quite a good question, to be fair. They said, what do you think about the people who split the box and sell the 2 halves separately? Now, I don't really count that as scalping. Maybe that's an unfair distinction to make. Maybe that's an arbitrary line that I've drawn there. But for me, when someone is scalping, they are taking the box, they are doing nothing with it, they are raising the price to something obscene, and then they're selling it on. That's all they're doing. When you see the full box going for $400, $600, $1,000, whatever, that person is not doing anything. They're not providing any sort of service. All they're doing is adding an extra step into the supply and demand. Games Workshop has the supply, the customers have got the demand. The scalpers are not in any way assisting with this. They are not doing anything that helps. They are not making the process quicker or easier. They are not improving the product. They are not doing anything to the product. They are just pricing it up. That's it. And that's garbage. Like, that's just garbage. There's no other way to put it. But I will say, there are plenty of people out there. OBS was just like, you have no microphone. I hope that's not true. There are people out there who don't want both halves of the box. They only want the Primaris half. They only want the Necron half. And so they don't want to buy the full thing. Also, not everyone has someone to split the box with. You might have a decent gaming group, but they may have decided, actually, I don't want one. Or 2 of them may have decided that they're going to split it. Your other friends don't want it, so you are like in a position of, well, I do not care about the Primaris half, I only want the Necrons, but I'm not going to buy the whole box because I don't want to go through the faff of, You know, pairing it all out and then selling the other stuff on. I mean, of course, if you did want half the box and you were able to buy the full thing and then sell the half you didn't want, that is, of course, a reasonable option. But again, that's also something that someone might not have the budget for. It might be that they want the Primaris half, but they don't have 125 quid to spend on it. That's not something that is in their disposable income for that month. And so, but they can stretch to 70. They can stretch to 70, and 70 they're happy with as a price for that half of the box. Now, in that situation, the people who take the box, split it down the middle, and put the two halves on eBay, provided it's not extortionate pricing, I honestly don't mind that. I don't think that's a terrible thing to do. A bit of a markup on the actual, 50-50 split, I don't think is too bad, because there is time involved there. There is at least a modicum of effort of taking the half of the box, putting it in a different box, shipping it off, separating everything out. There is actually, it's not a huge amount of work, but there is some work in there. There is something that needs to be done to achieve that goal, essentially, and to provide that product. It's not the same as just taking the box and selling it on. And I will say that when it comes to prices, I mean, I mentioned 70 quid as the example price because I've seen the halves going for about that much a couple of times on eBay now. I've seen 70 quid plus £3 postage. Now, 70 quid times 2, obviously, £140. The box is £25. That is not a lot of profit off that. That is someone who is, I would imagine, for quite a few of them, people who have decided, I'm going to get the box, I just don't want the Necrons. So I'll offload them. I'll get some of my money back, but they're not charging ridiculous prices. They're not charging obscene prices. It's not a vast amount to ask for half of it when you also take into account that there is something to be done to make that happen in the first place. I don't think it's the same. The ones I really have issue with are the ones who take the box as a whole, do nothing with it, they just sell it for 3 times what it costs them. That's nonsense. That's bullshit. That's not something that is defensible. It is just taking advantage, and that's it. But splitting it in half, I don't really count that as the same. And it's the same thing with selling individual units as well. I mean, the more you separate the boxes down, the more you split off different units, the more work it becomes, the more effort it takes. So again, if it's oh, well, this person's selling the Blade Guard for 25 quid. Okay. I mean, if you only want the Blade Guard, that is the way to get the Blade Guard. If someone's going to sit there and break the box down into all the different squads and all the different pieces, and 25 or 28 quid is probably cheaper than what Games Workshop is going to sell them for when they come out separate. Let's be honest. I mean, how much are aggressors? Aggressors are £30, 30, 35, something like that. Blade Guard will be about the same. Most likely. They could be a little bit more expensive, we'll have to see. But again, I don't think that's taking advantage. I think that is actually a situation where you're kind of, in a way, providing a service, and it's giving people the opportunity to get the bits that they want. So, no, I don't think that's scalping, personally. Oh, this is finally starting to do something. Just in time for us to end the video. You know what? I think actually they've done a decent job in making up for this. As I say, it does raise the question of why can't we just have this as the default option, but we also know the answer to that. And yeah, I thought it was important to talk about the scalping thing just for a minute, because I don't want people to get hate for doing something that actually I think is in a way kind of useful. So, yeah. Let me know what you think of Games Workshop's decision to make this made to order. I'm assuming you'll be happy about it. I could be wrong though. You could absolutely hate this, but I don't know why you would. That would be weird. Thank you very much for watching. I promise I won't talk about subscribing to the channel in every video. I just thought it was an interesting follow-up to the stupid comment that I'd made yesterday. So, yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. This intro is going on forever. I'm going to shut up now. If you didn't like the video, then dislike it because it does exactly the same thing as the likes or whatever. And I will see you... affiliate links. Click all the things. Do all of that stuff. The Patreon video, subscribe, all that stuff. I haven't done that for ages. And there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel. If you like, that was the quickest I've ever said that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.